Hello, hello, hello. It's cooking time. Welcome in, everybody. It's cooking with E time. We are cooking with what I like to call the favorite child, the do-si-do. We will wait a few moments as we wait for people to join us. Hope you are having a beautiful day on this Monday. Here in southern Arizona, it has been lovely with 28 days left in our cookie program. It's time to start cooking with these beauties. So waiting for a few more people to join us. We know the 4 o'clock hour on a Monday is not always the easiest time for people to cook with us, but as we know, you can always watch these videos later. Cook with your troop, cook with your family. So again, we are cooking with the do-si-do. We are making banana do-si-do beautiful muffins today. And I'm very excited because this will be our 5th year cooking together. Some of you cooking with me since the very beginning. Some of you cooking with us for the very first time. I am Elizabeth Locke Thomas, Chief of Mission Delivery at the Girl Scouts of Southern Arizona. And with me is my favorite monitor and yours, Alex Buller from our marketing department, who has been moderating for us for 4 years. She's fast on the fingers, so if you have questions, just ask away in the comments and she will make sure that you're well taken care of. So again, we are making today a really yummy banana muffin using our do-si-dos. And Alex will drop the actual recipe into the comments, but I'm gonna make sure that you have all of your ingredients. So as always, when we begin our cooking, we always wanna make sure that we have our mise en place, or our items, all of our ingredients in one place. Hello, welcome in. So on our recipe today, we need to have a mashed banana, the riper the better, egg, creamy peanut butter, melted butter or oil, brown sugar, vanilla, 2 large eggs, flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, these beauties, and cinnamon, milk or water, and then some optional things if you wanted to put chopped peanuts in or chocolate chips. I am using peanut butter chips because there's never enough peanut butter, if you ask me, in anything, because it is my favorite food. So once you have all of your ingredients out, we know we need to turn on the oven to get it preheating. And we're gonna preheat to 350 today. So I'm gonna do that as well. And then we always wash our hands before we begin. So if your hair isn't up yet, you wanna put your hair up. Mine is braided so it can't fall into our muffins because nobody likes hair in their food. Then we're gonna wash our hands and then we will get going on these delicious banana do-si-do muffins. And I thought it was very interesting when I was working with our friends in the marketing department and we were coming up with recipes, it dawned on me we've never made muffins together. So here we are 5 years later and I'm gonna teach you to make muffins from scratch. Why do we cook together from scratch? Because I grew up in an ingredients household, which meant that we made everything from scratch. So I raised my children that way. And I think that when ingredients get difficult to find or are more expensive, if you know how to cook with what's in your cupboard, your grocery bill is less expensive and you are more able to make multiple meals because you're not having to work off of something that's pre-done. Now, there are chefs that work in those factories that make, banana nut muffin mix that you just have to add water to. So they're beautiful. There's no shame in that. But I like to teach you how to do it from scratch. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I'm gonna wash my hands, you wash yours. We always wanna have clean hands when we start. And then we are going to begin with our wet ingredients first. So what would our wet ingredients be? So this is going to be a 2 mixing bowl experience. In fact, let me make sure that you have all of the, not just the ingredients out, let's make sure that you have your measuring cups, your measuring spoons, a bowl, a spoon or a whisk. I'm gonna use my handy dandy, most beloved mixer, which for those of you in the Southern Arizona Council, this beauty is also part of our cookie reward lineup. I have had this specific mixer for 30 years. They're a powerhouse in your kitchen. And if you can earn it through the cookie program and have something for a lifetime, that's pretty special. Not that I'm doing a commercial for KitchenAid, but I do love it. So I've got that out, and then I'm gonna crush my cookies in a plastic bag with just a rolling pin. If you have a food processor, you can crush your cookies in there, but I enjoy this. So it's fun to smash cookies. So what we're gonna do first is make sure that we've got all of our wet ingredients, and I'm going to put it into my KitchenAid. But if you do not have one and you have a hand mixer or a whisk, you can also just put it in a bowl with the whisk. So we are going to start with our wet ingredients, the banana. My bananas are melting from having been frozen. When I buy bananas, invariably one or two is gonna go black on me because I forget to eat them. I always take the peels off, stick them in a sandwich bag and put them in the freezer so that I can make a shake out of them, or I can make muffins out of them so that my bananas don't go to waste. So we're gonna start with 1 cup of bananas. And because my bananas were so ripe, I don't have to mash them. But because you are going directly into a mixer, don't even worry about pre-mashing your bananas. They're gonna get mashed in the mixer. So I've got a cup of banana. Then we need the peanut butter, creamy. Always cook with what you like to eat. People find that they wanna save money and buy less expensive ingredients when they're baking. Always bake with the same thing you would eat. I use the best peanut butter that I enjoy. I'm a Jif girl, so I'm using creamy Jif. If you're a Skippy or a natural, all great, but use what you like to eat as if it was on a spoon, because that will make sure that whatever you're making is delicious. So on our peanut butter, it is 1/2 cup. And when we use our dry measuring cups, remember that that measurement is at the very top. So I'm gonna pack that peanut butter directly into my measuring cup. I'm gonna smash it in there, and then you scrape across the top, and if it's completely flat, that is an exact measurement of 1/2 cup. So we're gonna put that in with the banana. And yes, we really do cook in real time. So those of you that are joining Alex and I for the very first time on Cooking with E, we're doing it in real time, not any Hollywood magic, because obviously I'm at home and not in Hollywood. But also, how do you learn how to cook? If it's all pre-done, it doesn't teach you the steps to do it. So that's why we do it in real time. That's why it takes about an hour to do something that would only take 20 minutes, because we want to make sure that you're learning as we go. I'm teaching you as if I'm teaching our Girl Scouts, but a lot of our caregivers and grown-ups love to do this with us as well, because maybe they didn't grow up in an ingredients household. So it's super fun for all of us. But remember, I'm talking to the Girl Scouts, so there's gonna be programming that goes along with it too. Because you know I love to do my culinary history with you. So now we've got our bananas and our peanut butter. Now we're gonna do the butter or the oil. So if you're using the melted butter, it just needed to be soft. It doesn't have to be fully melted. But if you are gonna melt it, it's really just until it's soft, which you can do in the microwave. I'm gonna go ahead and use oil. It's such a small amount that I don't think it matters one way or the other. So for our oil and or your butter, you need 1/4 cup. That's gonna go into your wet ingredients. And next up is gonna be our brown sugar. And I know you're thinking to yourself, But that's not a wet ingredient. You're right, it's not. But we always want to cream our sugar. So because we're doing the oils and the peanut butter and the banana, we want to cream it in with the sugar. That's always super important whenever we're baking, because otherwise your sugar is grainy and you don't want it to be grainy. So we're going to put it in with the wet, even though this is a dry item, so that we can cream the sugar in there. So for our brown sugar, a half a cup. I'm going to use that same half a cup measuring cup that I used for the peanut butter. No reason to dirty any additional dishes. And remember, if you're the one cooking, unless you have an agreement with your caregiver, you're also the one that's cleaning, because it's unfair for you to make a mess in the kitchen, learning how to cook, and then leave the mess for somebody else to clean up. Now, if you have an agreement of in your household that one person does the cooking and the other person does the cleaning, fabulous. Otherwise, don't forget that's your responsibility to do as well. So again, with that brown sugar, because it's a dry, I'm gonna pack that in super tight into my measuring cup. A little bit more. And then I scrape along the top. And that's a perfect measurement of a half of a cup. That goes in. And next up on our ingredients is our vanilla. And I am using my vanilla that was made for me by 2 fabulous Girl Scouts that I love. I've been using this for the last year. This is such a fun and wonderful thing to do for a holiday gift. So for our vanilla, we need 1 teaspoon. And remember, your measurements on your teaspoons or your measuring spoons is all right on it. So I want the 1 teaspoon. And I measure my vanilla over the top of whatever I'm making so that I don't spill it on the counter. And if a little vanilla falls in, never mind. And next in this bowl is going to be our eggs. So with our eggs, remember, whenever we crack an egg, we're going to crack it into a separate cup or bowl for 2 reasons. We want to make sure that there's no eggshells in there, but also we want to make sure that there's no blood or anything else fertilized in that egg. If you're a family like me that keeps kosher, I can't have any blood in that egg. I'd have to throw it away. But if I didn't put it in a cup first before I put it in the bowl, then the whole bowl would have to go in the garbage. And that's true of a lot of our dietary needs. So that's why we do this on the side. First egg in, cracking it, checking it, making sure that it's totally golden, and then it goes into the bowl. I didn't have any shells, it didn't have any blood. Perfection. All right. And so in our bowl currently we have 1 cup of bananas, a half a cup of creamy peanut butter, a 1/4 cup of melted butter or oil, a half a cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 large eggs. So that's everything that's in the bowl. And now we are going to blend it all together. Alex, thank you for doing all of the comments. I appreciate you. And yes, Rebecca, I will tell you, homemade vanilla is really so exceptional. We will share the recipe of how you do that also. So the peanut butter is going to stick to the side of your bowl. So midway through, just scrape it down. That smells so yummy. I think the smell of bananas and peanut butter together is such a comforting smell. All right. So mine, literally, can't get this off. Okay, I'm moving the camera so you can see. So in the bowl, it's just very loose. liquidy. And that depends really on, sorry, my hand, how ripe your banana was. My bananas were super, super, super ripe, so I have a little bit extra liquid in here. If your banana's not ripe at all, yours is not gonna be this liquidy. Not to worry. All right, what's next? Moving on. We're going to do the dry ingredients now. So the dry ingredients are gonna be done in a separate bowl. And the reason for that is that we wanna get all of the dry ingredients blended together. A, no lumps, but B, because we're using both baking soda and baking powder, we wanna make sure that that's mixed into the flour. What's the difference of baking powder and baking soda? One rises, one spreads. We want both to happen in a muffin. So for our dry ingredients, we are going to use 1.5 cups of flour. I'm just using regular old all-purpose flour. Flour, I like to keep in more of an airtight container. You can get these super, super inexpensive at any store, really. But the reason I do this is once you open a bag of flour, invariably somebody's gonna knock it over in the cupboard. It happens all the time, and then you've got flour everywhere. But also, if you don't bake a lot or use a lot of flour, the flour starts to get icky, especially in Arizona during monsoon season. But when I've got it in a container, even if I dropped it, it's not gonna be all over the flour. It also keeps my flour nice and fresh. Don't have to do that. You can just put your flour bag in a Ziploc bag and seal it up. This just is easier for me. So we're gonna do that 1.5 cups of flour. So again, it's that dry measurement to the very top. That's 1. And then I'm gonna grab my half. So I've got 1.5 in there. And again, I was still using that peanut butter covered measuring cup, because why not? Then we need our baking soda and our baking powder. So for our baking soda, it's 1 teaspoon. Yeah, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I just do my spoon directly in there, and then I use the edge of the container to scrape the top of my spoon. And 1/2 teaspoon of the baking powder. If you do not have one or the other of these, you can still use it. Baking powder is what's gonna make it rise. If you only have the baking powder, your muffins will be still light and fluffy. If you only have the soda, they're not gonna rise as well as they would without it. You can still do it though, don't give up. Next on our dry ingredient is a little bit of salt, 1/2 teaspoon. Why salt in something sweet? It elevates your flavor. So you wanna always balance the sweetness of anything, and the salt helps lift the flavor beyond the sugar. It's such a tiny little amount, you'll never notice that the salt is in there, but that's why you have it. If you are on a low salt diet and you don't like to add salt, it's not gonna change, it's not gonna ruin your muffin, so that's okay. I don't have any regular salt, so I am using a beautiful pink Himalayan, very fancy. So that's why you didn't see me measure that one. I know that 3 grinds of mine is gonna be that 1/2 teaspoon, but you should have regular salt at home. I mean, I shouldn't say you should, because clearly I don't, and measure it, but I just use my 3 turns. Next up on it is going to be we've got flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, cinnamon. And the cinnamon was optional in this recipe. It's a 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going for it because I love cinnamon with banana and peanut butter. And next up is the guest star of our show, a do-si-do. So this calls for 6 do-si-dos. And for those of you joining us from an ABC Council, peanut butter sandwiches. Fun fact, because this is my favorite cookie, I think they need more peanut butter in them. So I like to do a double stuffed. I open up my cookies, and then I put the 2 peanut butter sides together for the ultimate double stuffed do-si-do. That's good eating. So I'm gonna use just a plastic bag and a rolling pin to smash my cookies in here. So 6. One more for me. Close up my Ziploc, making sure all of the air is out. And again, if you want to put it in a food processor, totally can. I just find it's very fun to smash them. It's also one less thing I have to clean. There's nobody here doing dishes for me. That's how easy. That's all you have to do. And those are going to get poured directly into your dry ingredients. And then you are just going to whisk, stir, whatever, the dry. Really that simple. Just mixing all of the ingredients together. Optional items. If you wanted to put your peanuts in there, if you wanted to put in chocolate chips, again, I'm using peanut butter chips. This is where you would throw those in, half a cup, or to taste. I put a lot in. Let's review that we've got all of our ingredients. So in our dry, we've got our flour, our baking soda, our baking powder, our salt, our cinnamon, and our crushed do-si-dos. And then your optional item if you wanted to put it in. Now, you're going to put the dry with the wet. I'm gonna turn this around. See if I can get this bowl off. There we go. We know Miss E's wrists are not very strong anymore. Normally it wouldn't be that difficult. Okay, so I've got the bowl off. I'm just going to fold in. So I'm gonna put all of my dry in with my wet. And now I'm just gonna fold it together. You don't wanna super stir it. That's why I'm not using the electric mixer. This is the by hand part. Until all of your ingredients are incorporated. Now you'll see on the recipe, it says 1/4 cup of water or milk. The reason you didn't see me put it in there is because it depends on how juicy your bananas were. Mine were very juicy. So if I had put that milk or water in, I would have too loose of a muffin mix. If yours does not look like this, you want to go ahead and put that 1/4 cup of milk or water in here now. So let's say your bananas were not super ripe, then you would want to go ahead and put this in. In fact, I think I am going to put just a little bit in mine, but not quite that 1/4 cup, because you don't want it to be like cookie batter. You do want it to be a little bit looser so you can kind of like a little bit more like biscuit mix or pancake mix. Yeah, that's better, much better. All right, is yours smelling so good? I know mine is. So I'm gonna set this aside. So get this out of my way. So next, I wanna get my muffin tins. If you have little muffin foils or papers, that's always a lovely thing to have. Again, less cleaning. But if you don't have any and you just have the muffin tin, totally fine. A little spray non-stick in there, or a little oil just on your finger right around in them to make sure that they don't stick inside is what you would need to do if you don't have the little muffin tins. We're just gonna go ahead and spoon it evenly. I'm using air quotes evenly because it's never perfect. Into the tins. How's everybody doing? Are you feeling successful? Am I going a little too fast? So I'm just spooning them directly into the tins. And by the time we're done with this, our oven should be fully preheated for us to get them in the oven. So if you've ever wondered why I like to cook with our Girl Scout cookies, I think they are such a delicious product all by themselves. But when you have a beautiful item like a Girl Scout cookie, it makes for a really beautiful ingredient inside something else. We've made cheesecake together and trifles and brownies and goodness, so many different things. Ice cream sandwiches. And it allows you to enjoy the Girl Scout cookies in so many different ways. It's also a great way for you to engage with your customers. Oops, see, I made a mess. About all the different things. So when they say, I've already bought enough Girl Scout cookies, I don't need any more. Did you buy enough for the summer months? Did you buy to make things with? And then having recipes at your cookie booths of what they can do will often help you sell a few more boxes. Because now they're not just buying a box of cookies to eat. Now they're buying a box of cookies as ingredients to something else. Right. Kind of even. Yeah. Nice. So every time you see me going this way, I put all my things when I'm done with them directly into the sink so that I can start getting my items put away. Because I find that if I clean as I go, I don't have as much of a mess to clean up when I'm done cooking. So when I'm done cooking, I like to be done in the kitchen, not still have to clean. I think we have ascertained I'm not a fan of the cleaning part. So I also had crushed peanuts that I saved as my extra things that I just wanted to sprinkle on the top of my muffins before they went in. I didn't want to actually put them into the mixture. I wanted to put them on the top, kind of like a crumble. Or you could put your chips on top, your chocolate chips or your peanut butter chips on top. This is where you would do it before they go in the oven. How's everybody doing? So our incredible marketing team of Kate and Alex are going to put recipe cards out for you of the items that we've been making together. And they already have past recipes already on our website for you. So definitely check those out. And if you have a great recipe, don't forget, we've got the Cooking with E Chopped Challenge. If you haven't submitted your recipe ideas for cookie recipes, because the winner will get to be on our show in March, and you'll get to teach your recipe to everybody on Cooking with E. So super fun. Em was our big winner last year with cake pops, and that was delicious. So mine are ready to go into the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Again, it was preheated to 350 degrees. Totally forgot I had a cookie sheet in here. So I put them in the center rack, in the center of the oven. Ovens bake differently. If they're at the very top, you tend to have an uneven bake, and if they're at the very bottom, you'll have an overdone bottom muffin. So I like to bake in the middle of my oven. That's the word. So it needs to be in the oven for 15 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer. So it was, I believe, 15 to 20 minutes. We're gonna check them at 15. With a muffin, you can tell it's done when you just push down on the top of it and it's springy. If it doesn't spring back, it's not done. Or for little fingers, you can just use a toothpick right through the center of the muffin. And if the toothpick comes out clean, then you know your muffin or your cake is done. If it still has a little batter on it, it's still baking. So let's see, how are we doing? I don't see any questions that weren't answered, so brava. So as you know, I love to do a little history for you, a little culinary history, because I think it's important that we know where our food comes from, because things come from all over the world and they change. So when I was doing my research about when did muffins get invented, muffins came about in the 11th century in Wales, and the original muffin was actually leftover biscuit dough or bread dough and potatoes. It was a savory muffin. It wasn't until an immigrant from England brought the recipes here to America in the 18th century, and then Americans turned it from a savory to a sweet and started adding things like we just did. Instead of using leftover bread dough or biscuit dough, using the ingredients that you make dough with, and then started adding sweet things. So the sweet muffin is very much an American invention, whereas the savory muffin is Welsh and very, very old and ancient. I just think that's so interesting. So I also, because favorite child, the Do-si-do, I wanted to know when she joined the cookie lineup. It was in the 1950s. The Do-si-do was first. The peanut butter sandwich, which was originally called a Savannah, was second, but both in the early 50s. And it has never left the lineup. The chocolate peanut butter patty tag-along came along much later, when chocolate and peanut butter, thanks to the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, really made that flavor combination so popular in America. But this is the original peanut butter Do-si-do sandwich. And I love it so much. What are all of your favorite cookies? I would love to know, because I always think it's interesting. We know that the Thin Mint is America's favorite, obviously. And here in Southern Arizona, we actually sell the most percentage-wise of anywhere. We sell 30% of all of our cookies are Thin Mints here in Southern Arizona. And the theory behind that is because it is so very hot here in the summer, and there's nothing more refreshing than a frozen Thin Mint cookie, that the theory is that's why we sell so many here in Southern Arizona, because that cookie cools you down. But of course, our Samoa, number 2. But I always think it's so interesting, what are other flavors? What is everybody else's flavor? Because I'll tell you, hands down, I buy 2 cases of these so that I always have them in the cupboard. My closet. So hopefully everybody's got their muffins in the oven. Oh, I see. There's a big Adventure Time lover on here. Those are so good. I love Adventurefuls. If your muffins are already in the oven, this is when you want to start getting all of your ingredients put away. Because when those muffins come out of the oven, again, you've got that 15 to 20 minutes that you could have gotten your dishes all done, all of your ingredients put away, your counters are all wiped down, so you can certainly start doing that. And in the meantime, I will continue to ramble poetically about how much I love the Girl Scout cookie. So I have so enjoyed your cookie booths this year. There has been some really artistic and beautiful decor that are all going on top of just the regular beautiful setups that you do. This last week here in Southern Arizona, we did the Arizona sunset theme. And I have to tell you, these were my favorite of all the booths you've ever done. They were so creative. And the artwork that we saw, my favorite of the artwork, the number of people that took the cookie boxes and turned it into a decoupage type art, like collages of the Arizona flag, of the Arizona sunset. So you created this beautiful talking point for your customers to come up and look at your beautiful artwork. And then I love to see how many photographers we have. You blew up your beautiful photos that you've taken of these sunsets, which, as we know, the sunsets change every time, never a single one the same. So I got to see not only your artwork, I got to see your photography. And when you do things like that at your cookie booth, you're allowing your customer something to talk to you about. Because we know not everybody's going to buy cookies, right? Not everybody is a cookie lover, or maybe they've already bought. But when you add something like that to your cookie booth, you're adding talking points. You're adding something else to bring up a conversation. And as I always say, when people are walking by your cookie booth, you want to drum up conversation. It's not just, would you like to buy a box of cookies? It's, oh my gosh, I love your dog. Cute hat. You look fabulous today. Think of us on the way out. So you're already starting to have this wonderful conversation with people. And then when they come back out of the store or they're walking by you, that's when you make your sales pitch. But then you also engage in these wonderful conversations like your art that you've been putting at your booths. And I just want to commend you. They have been so beautiful this season. So there were some questions. Let me see. I think Miss Timley asked a question. Have you ever put a dollop of mint chip ice cream in between two thin mints? No, ma'am, I have not, but I will do so. That sounds heavenly. I do love an ice cream sandwich. I will tell you, these make incredible s'mores. I bet you never thought about making a do-si-do s'more because they're incredible. In fact, I've made s'mores with every one of our cookies. They make really yummy s'mores. What else questions do we have? Oh, I see a lot of Samoa and Thin Mint fans in this string because they are America's favorites. Beautifully done, everybody. So whose house smells so good as the baking is beginning? Because I can already start to smell the peanuts, the peanut butter. As it heats up, it emits the most beautiful smell as the oils heat up in the peanuts. So what if you're not a peanut person? What you just learned to make is the recipe you can use for absolutely any muffin from scratch. So omitting the peanut butter and the do-si-do, you have the base of any from scratch muffin, which means that you could use any of our delicious cookies in here. Or, like I told you what I do with my bananas whenever they're starting to get dark and I just put them right into the freezer. You can do that with any fruit and make a quick muffin, which I love. Muffins are so good after you make them and put them in the freezer so that you can pull them out for your lunch boxes, for when you go to school. That's an easy thing to prep on the weekend, using a lot of your leftover fruit. And then, because these are all ingredients that you have in your cupboard, you can always whip together a fast muffin. And that's why we always do things from scratch together, because you're adding to your skills toolbox of things that you can quickly whip up that you would have never thought of. So sometimes you just don't want to go to the store, and sometimes you just can't go to the store, and sometimes there isn't money for extra treats. But when you have flour, you bought it once, but you're going to be able to make 30, 40, 50 things. And same with, you already have the oil or the baking soda most people have because you keep it fresh in your refrigerator. These ingredients allow you to make a sweet treat inexpensively whenever you want to. So that's why we learn to do things from scratch together. So what else do we want to talk about? Because I didn't do enough research of an exciting, crazy history for you. What else can we talk about? I don't know. Cooking. Let's talk about cooking. People asked, why did we have a cooking lineup in our Cookie Rewards this year? Well, as you can see, for those of you that are in Southern Arizona, when we put together our Cookie Reward lineup this year, everything connects to a badge all the way down. So we color-coded the culinary badges versus the self-care badges, and all the rewards line up to that. So every year when we do like our Cooking with E, or we have a cooking reward, people tell us it's one of the favorite things that they get to do, because maybe they don't get to cook a lot at home, and this is a way for you to be with your caregivers and do something wonderful together, or you got to make dinner for the first time for your family. It's something that you love to do. So we did an entire lineup this year, so that from earning your own mixing spoons, to your own mixing bowls, to your own aprons, to your, all the way up to your own beautiful kitchen aid, so that you could start creating your own supplies in your kitchen that are yours, that will follow you throughout your life. And we want to make sure that whenever we do our cookie rewards, that that's what it is. They're things that will last you a very long time and are useful. Jam is always a big ask. I love that you love the jam. So every year we do a Cooking with E jam type session. It's jamming with E. But we also have on our past Facebook videos, you can always search the jamming. If you've never learned to make jam with me, there is a video for you to learn how to make the jam. Let's see, I've got 4 minutes left on my timer. How's everybody else doing on their timer? So see, we're doing this all in real time. Now, had we used our Hollywood magic, I would have had the muffins already made, so we would have done that mixing together, and then I would have pulled the muffins back out for you, and ta-da, we would have been done. But that doesn't give you the real life experience of us doing this together. I don't know how those muffins are gonna turn out. Hopefully they're gonna be great, but sometimes you see me drop things, and sometimes you see that maybe they're not perfect. And that's so important for you to learn, because not everything is ever gonna be perfect in life. In fact, most of the times it's not gonna be perfect in life. And you have to be okay with the fact that you did your very, very, very best, and it's gonna still be delicious, even if it doesn't look like it had Hollywood magic in it. And that's where you take your pride from, is the effort that you gave and the love that you put into it, not that it was perfect in the way that it looked. So that's why we do this like this, because I don't want you to ever have a false sense of anything being perfect. Then I wouldn't be teaching you what it is to actually cook in a kitchen. Sometimes things work out really great and sometimes they don't, but every time it was worth trying, because that's how we learn. And cooking is my favorite thing to do. It's really the thing that allows my brain to be quiet. If you're a person like me whose brain is going 1,000,000 miles an hour all the time, when I'm cooking, I have to be very intentional. I have to focus on what I'm doing, and it allows my brain to be quiet in that moment. So it's a way that I can have that decompressing time. It's why I love to cook so much. It's why I love to cook with my children. You can't multitask when you're cooking. Cooking itself is multitasking. So you're doing that one thing, even if you're doing, making a meal or making all these different things that we had to do. Sure, that's multitasking. But I'm not also on my emails, and I'm not also on the phone, and I'm not also doing something else. I'm in that moment right then and there with my child, with my Girl Scouts, with myself. So I hope you find something in life that allows you that moment for yourself, like cooking has been for me, because we all need to have that something special that allows our brain to be quiet for just a moment. I'm gonna check my muffins. Be right back. Oh, they're so pretty. They're not ready yet, but they're so pretty. So, yes, I agree. Cooking and baking is very meditative. Meditative? Yes, that word. I, for the first time, made sourdough over winter break, and I have never been so excited over something so silly as making successful sourdough. And I'm 57 years old, so when I say that I tried something brand new for the first time, it was astoundingly amazing. So if you've never had the opportunity to try to make sourdough, it is really fun. It's the science, obviously, of the starter, but also it's so intentional in the way you have to do it. So I think that that's a really fun family experience. of doing sourdough. Even my children were giddy when it came out of the oven, and it was so delicious. So yes, baking and cooking is a very special thing. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's got their stuff in the oven. Yes, you all look like you did such a great job. So for those of you that are watching the video, you can always just scroll past my ramblings. You will get little nuggets of exciting information, but you can also speed it up to the end. My timer's going off. I'm gonna go check. Because again, it was 15 minutes is your time to check. And no, mine's definitely gonna need the other 5 minutes. Yeah, mine definitely needs the other 5 minutes. So depending on your oven and how ripe your bananas were, you may need the extra 5 minutes also. Thank you, all of you that have joined us. It's always very fun to cook together. That special time that we're just doing this, and not all the million other things that we do all day long. To our caregivers and our volunteers that are watching, thank you for everything you do. This incredible mission only works because of you. We can't do all of the wonderful things that this mission brings to this world without you. So thank you. And thank you for taking a moment out of cookie season to cook for a little bit with me. Hopefully you will have left feeling a little decompressed from the very exceptional and busyness of the cookie season, which you know that I love so very desperately. I think the cookie program is the most incredible thing. For those of you that have never cooked with me before or never heard any of my cookie trainings, I am the byproduct of the cookie program. I was the shyest child you could have ever met. I'm the Girl Scout that was always hiding behind somebody. I could not speak in public. I could not engage in conversation, and what you have before you is what the cookie made, very much so. It's worth every moment and every effort you put out there so that our young women grow into the humans they are destined to be. The cookie is that powerful. Let's see. I'm loving all of the little gifs you guys are putting in the comments. Very cute. This should be a candle, a banana peanut butter candle, because the smell is divine, divine. Have you ever done your own chocolate dipped do-si-do? So completely different than the tag-along, but if you ever take your do-si-do and dip it into melted chocolate, that is good eating. So incredibly good. I wish I had looked at more facts for you today, but alas, I did not. What else do we want to talk about today? Do you want to talk about, see, we already did your favorite cookie, and, oh, how about your favorite thing that you've ever made out of the cookie? So if you've ever done cooking with E before, what's your favorite thing we've made? Mine is the thin mint French silk pie. That one was my favorite. Oh, and the thin mint cheesecake. Those two I think were my favorite of what we've ever made. Did you know that you can use the cookies for savory items also? The trefoil, the shortbread, is an incredible breading. So good. So it doesn't always have to just be sweet. You can use it for all kinds of cooking. We are good. We are good. Look how pretty they are. I can also hear them. I don't know if you can hear them. So when these come out of the oven, you need to let them rest for 5 minutes. But I'm not going to do that. so hot. So again, these recipes I create out of my brain. Because why would you want to make something that you could just look up on the internet? So I make these recipes for you as well. But she is beautiful. How does she taste? That is so good. So with that, my friends, thank you for joining me. Thank you for spending time cooking together. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you had a moment to just breathe today. And as I always like to say, if you can be one thing, be kind. In this world, we need more of that. So from my kitchen to you, I wish you kindness, goodness, and health. Until next time, thanks for cooking with me. Bye.